Welcome. My name is Sam Price, the Crypto Lifer, and every single week I give you a top-down macro analysis using the weekly, maybe the daily, but some big-time charts to show you kind of where we're going and where we've been. We're going to go over Bitcoin dominance, Tether dominance, total 3, S&P futures, the NASDAQ, and the DXY. And a secret chart, too, that I want to show you at the end that may just make you some gains. Stay tuned towards the end to see that chart. First thing we're going to do is talk about Bitcoin. Everyone's super bullish, saying we have to keep going up, say the ETFs have to keep buying. I mean, I say nothing is guaranteed in life and anything is possible. That way, I'm ready for anything, right? So if you think you know what's happening, you could get bagged. You don't want to do that. So I'm open-minded that Bitcoin could tank or pump. Either thing could happen. Let's look at the charts and find out what the most and the highest probability is of this happening. So right now, I'm a support and resistance guy. That was resistance. We broke above it. We use it as a bounce. Right now, as long as we stay above 65,550, we remain bullish. We did test that level yesterday. We've bounced off of it. As long as we don't close a weekly candle below 65,550, I'm okay. We could go down below it for a few days, but as long as the weekly candle does not close below 65,550, I remain bullish. The second we close a weekly candle below that, I'm going to have to assume we're going to test 60,500. We lose that, I'm going to have to assume we test this $51,000, $52,000 level. So the two levels to watch are 65.5 and 60,000. We lose those two levels, there will be a massive more downside. So what do I see right now? Well, you're away from the 21. In my life, I've backtested this. Every time you're away from the 21, you either go sideways or to the downside. I would expect at least a sideways flag or a downward flag, something like this. One of these two things. I call it the twisted sister. Now, it's less likely you go sideways because how far away you are from the 21. I would be pulling a Fibonacci here, looking at a 618 level, and it tells me that it wouldn't surprise me if Bitcoin decides to take itself slowly all the way back down to the 618, get a bounce, and start a bigger rally back to the upside. Nothing goes up forever in any trading scenario. Everything gets a pullback. Bitcoin has been on a massive tear since September of 2023. And, when is the pullback, right? There's got to be some type of pullback, in my humble opinion. Now, am I selling everything? What am I doing? A few positions I take profit on. I took profit along the way up. I kept taking profit all along this time and then putting them into long-term holds. Things that really haven't gone up too hard either, like Atom. I got into Solana at 109. It's pumping pretty nicely. So we'll see. Solana is showing signs against Bitcoin, and we're going to talk about that towards the end of the stream. So, but this is what I see. I see, and again, there's a chance we never break this key level and there's a chance we don't break this level, but I just see sideways or downward price action here on the weekly. It's very, very likely. Could we continue to the upside? I'm open-minded to it, but I'm telling you right now, the probabilities are very, very low. The probabilities that we continue to the upside are getting slim to none based on my years of doing this. On the 4-day, we have tweezer topped with a red candle there. Not a good sign. Same thing on the 3-day, my go-to time frame. The 3-day also suggests that we get a pullback to that 618 pullback. You know what I mean? We get a slow pullback to that 618. If not, we get somehow sideways price action and we stay above that key level. So can the weekly level hold? Can we go sideways while the 21 slowly comes into price action? We had it here. We were too far from the 21. I said the same thing back here. If you go back in time, I said, everyone, man, that's unsustainable. We've pumped too far. We're going to have to go sideways and kiss the 21 or come back to it. There's no way we're going to continue to go to the upside when the 3 days that far away from the 21-day moving average. What do? Look, we went sideways. When we touched it again and interacted with it, played with it, that would be our next leg back to the upside. So it's all about the 21 SMA, in my humble opinion, or, MA, however you want, simple moving average. I'm looking for sideways price action or downward movement. Very, very unlikely that Bitcoin just starts to make some new all-time high and rip to 80,000, 88,000 like people are saying. Now, there's one exception to this rule, and that's the 8-hour time frame, all right? And I usually don't want to go this small here, but I will just to show you what I'm talking about. On the 8-hour, if we look at it very closely, it's getting oversold, okay? Extremely oversold down here, which is a good sign. And it's hugging somewhat of a bullish divergence. Now, most people would say divergence starts here, and that swings down, and that swings down. And there's no bullish divergence at all. There's nothing. I've backtested this theory where that's your swing low, it goes to there, and this is your swing low that goes to here. And that's a downtrend while that's an uptrend. There's a chance if we hold this weekly level, this does form what's called a hidden bullish divergence. Right now, it is hidden bullish divergence. What would stop it if price continued to dump and we ended up making this flat? Then it would negate it. But as long as we have this angle to the upside and this angle to the downside, to me, I've backtested this many times, it is hidden bullish divergence. Even though you have this intricate, tricky movement here, it still is hidden bullish divergence. So I see hidden bullish divergence for Bitcoin suggests that we could get a bounce higher than this high back to the upside. So I know I just showed you that the probabilities are against us. It does, but it means, hey, anything could happen. This could end up making somewhat of a pattern like so, going sideways before we make a move. Right now, I am watching the 1 hour time frame, and I'm telling you, we are in a very, very sketchy spot. This is what's called a broadening falling wedge, and we're hugging this level of support. We lose this level, it's likely we're going to test the double bottom or even go further down to the bottom of this channel, somewhere here, or even all the way back down to here to test 62,800. So there's a chance even in the next, I don't know, by tonight or tomorrow, Bitcoin starts to dump if we can't hold this level. This level is very crucial right now, 67,800 for Bitcoin. It just held. We got a bounce. We really, really need a hold above that level. If you want to also see kind of what's happening, you could just kind of draw a symmetrical triangle here on the 15-minute, and that's it right there. I didn't want that line. Hold on. And I'm going to highlight this for you just to show you what I see. So 1, 2, symmetrical triangle needs to bounce back. These normally break to the downside. They're going to break the length of the base, okay? Bitcoin's either going to break back up and hit 77 and make a new all-time high, or it's going back down. Likely it's going down based on what I see on the bigger time frames, based on the 1 hour stochastics. However, we did hold 68,000. If we can hold 68K, then we can begin to build our way back to the upside, all right? One kind of cool little thing, could we do a shoulder? Could this be a massive head and some type of right shoulder, and do we break on out? So I'll be watching this closely, keeping my group updated and keeping the community updated. I'll send things on Twitter too. I like to keep everyone informed, even if you don't pay for my trading group, because I love you all, all right? So Bitcoin, you're all God's children, and I love you all, man. So Bitcoin, that's what I have for Bitcoin right now. Yeah, the 8 hour and the 1 hour. The 1 hour really has to get back above its 200 SMA. Then it basically can confirm that the 8 hour is getting a bounce back to the top of the channel, and there's a chance that we get saved here by the hidden bullish divergence on the 8 hour time frame. This is how I would watch Bitcoin tonight. Really, really important we get back up and we start going sideways inside of this channel. The total market cap, same story. We didn't hit the all-time high like Bitcoin did, so it's different, right? We didn't hit the all-time high. We actually came to a resistance kind of where we wicked to before, and we're away from the 21-day moving average. I've already pulled a Fibonacci here, and you can see the 618 sitting somewhere at 197. Does it mean we go again? Same story. Do we stay above support? There's a chance. And do we just end up going sideways? Now, what if there's just, we either get a super cycle explosion, which is very, very unlikely, but I'm open-minded right now. The most likely scenario, again, like I showed you, is a downward flag or a sideways price action so we can interact with the 21-day moving average. You see? This is what we're looking at. That would take us up to $3.75 trillion, or we'd probably come down and test this 618, maybe even test this level here at 1.76. So the bigger time frames, again, showing me signs of a pullback. It's really all up to what Bitcoin does in the next, really, tonight and tomorrow and throughout the weekend, all right? We take a look at total 3. It's all the altcoins. They're not even near their all-time highs, okay? This resistance is right here at about $846 billion, all right? We also got rejected here at $788 billion. So now you say, oh, well, we had a support, and we held the support at $700 billion. $700 billion needs to hold. Again, weekly, in my humble opinion, too far away from the 21-day moving average. It's unsustainable. Same thing here with the 3-day. Too far away. I've back-tested this. Every time you get far away, you come back and test the 21. It would be a rare anomaly for Bitcoin and the whole markets to continue to rip without a decent pullback here back to this 21-day moving average. This looks most likely and the healthiest for a bigger move to the upside. I see this all the time. This would make sense. It would take 1, 2, 3. It could take basically it could take 30 to 60 days. This could take 2 months to fully, come to fruition. We could have the halving, and then after the halving in late May, we start to, or maybe in mid-May, or yeah, it says May 6th, so beginning of May, we start our move out of here to the upside. So about a month and a half, 45 days possible of sideways or downward price action for the entire market before we get our bigger move to the upside. I'm not saying this is a guarantee. We could go sideways. The smaller time frames could bail us out like I showed you on Bitcoin. I'm just showing you the probabilities are not in our favor right now that we're going to eventually keep moving to the upside. Bitcoin dominance. Does it get any hope for the altcoins? What's happening to Bitcoin dominance on the bigger time frames? Well, look at Bitcoin dominance. It's interesting. It's inside an ascending triangle, getting tighter in the zone, and it's showing like it wants to make a move to the upside. Whenever I see a big move for Bitcoin dominance, usually means there's a big move for Bitcoin. However, the weekly's kind of indecision, and it could even turn, and you could see a dump. This is also an ascending triangle, and as bullish as they are, they're 50-50 patterns, bilateral. They could go either way. The 12-hour suggests that we're going to get some type of bounce here for Bitcoin, back to the top of the channel at the very least, and it doesn't say you're going to get some amazing altcoin action. You look at your 4-hour time frame, your 4-hour also suggesting some type of bounce. This is what we need. We need Bitcoin to kind of go like this. We need dominance to go sideways. We need Bitcoin to go sideways. I would love it if Bitcoin can kind of recapture the key level at 6970K, really get above the 200 SMA on the 15-minute. That level is going to be 70,900 if you want to write it down. 70,900 key area. So Bitcoin dominance actually showing signs that Bitcoin may continue, right? But we'll see. It could even dump to the downside. Either way here, these patterns are 50-50 patterns. So, but right now, the Stokes are pushing to the upside. Let's take a look at the daily time frame. The daily is oversold and honestly could give us a bounce too as well. I will caution you on one thing though. Bitcoin dominance can pump when Bitcoin dumps. It pumps for two reasons. One reason, when Bitcoin's hot and everyone's jumping in. Now, when the altcoins dump, people jump into Bitcoin to save themselves. They don't want to get into the dollar, right? They want to stay in cryptocurrency, so they don't want to get into the US dollar, but they don't want to be in the altcoins. So they sell their altcoins for Bitcoin. They stay in Bitcoin until, basically the altcoins regulate. They get back into the altcoins. This makes Bitcoin dominance go up even when Bitcoin's dumping and the market's dumping, because Bitcoin's going down, altcoins are going down, but people are running into Bitcoin. This is why we're going to have to look at the tether dominance on the daily. If tether dominance on the daily is high, it suggests that people are going to start selling off into tether. So, low. So right now, look what we see. We see Bitcoin dominance trying to pump. We see tether dominance trying to dump. Now, if tether dominance was low while Bitcoin dominance was low, that's not what you want to see. We've seen that before, and that usually leads to a massive dump. It's a good sign right now that we have tether dominance high and Bitcoin dominance low. What does that mean? Well, if Bitcoin dominance is going to rise, right, and tether dominance is going to fall, that means that people are going to run into Bitcoin, all right? That's what it says, and that Bitcoin may be ready for another rally. Right now, even the 15-minute for tether is suggesting some type of move to the downside. We really need this to happen for Bitcoin to continue. We're going to watch Bitcoin dominance and tether dominance. They're going to be giving us the insights and the key details that a lot of the other channels are missing. They don't know how to do this. They haven't taught themselves how to figure this out. It's based on probability. Think about it. I research probability. Then I find the assets that give me the information. I juxtapose the probabilities of those assets, and I have a pretty good idea of where the entire market's going to go. It seems simple to me, but not to everybody else. Let's take a look at the DXY. DXY went on a tear, all right? Finally getting a bit of a pump here. Not a good sign. We don't like seeing the DXY pump here on the Crypto Lifer Show. I'm an American. I love the America, and I want us to survive, but no good right here. Let's take a look at the daily time frame. So the daily, we've been watching this for a long time. Ever since we came up here and got rejected, we've been talking about this shoulder, head, right shoulder. Got a bit of a bounce right there. You'd like to see that get rejected and have this head and shoulder play out to the downside. Right now, the daily is suggesting that you're going to get a little bit of a bounce in the DXY. Now, the DXY can bounce with Bitcoin. They have pumped together. What if, basically because it's a basket of foreign assets. What if people are dumping the other foreign assets for the dollar? That's going to create a bit of a pump for the DXY, and then Bitcoin could be pumping too. Mainly, they are inversely correlated. If the dollar's going to pump, Bitcoin's going to be dumping. It's very rare to see them pumping together. Right now, there's momentum on the daily to the upside. You don't want to see this daily cross over the 200 SMA. If the daily candle crosses this 200 SMA, there's a good chance we get a move in the DXY. That also kind of coincides with my idea that Bitcoin may be taking a bigger pullback. So be careful right now. We are in some treacherous waters. Whenever whenever everyone's telling you that price is definitely going to go up and that we just can't stop, and it's someone that doesn't chart and doesn't look at charts every day, take a step back and realize you may be getting, kind of the smoke blown in your face. Let's take a look at the S&P. I told you they were likely going to continue to pump the price of the S&P. The last time we were together, it was about, today is the 15th, so it was May 8th, right? And we were pumping. We pumped up a little more. We went sideways, and right now we're kind of still inside of this sideways flag. We've been on this trajectory for a long time since I called the cup and handle. They call me Sammy Cup and Handy. I called this cup with a handle here on the S&P. Take away my moving averages. You can clearly see the cup and handle. And so far, it's on the way to the upside. The measured move was the length of the base. I'll show you. You take wick to wick here, that low wick to the high wick of the handle, and you position it outside of the handle, and that is where you're likely going to go. That sends you back to basically 5,473. We're pretty close to that. They're going to continue to print money, so I don't know how we're not going to continue to go up. They may try to raise rates, which may hurt price action. Right now, the Federal Reserve has a meeting next Wednesday. Brace yourself next week. So not only do we have this bearish feeling going on, we have the Fed taking a meeting. You got some strong bearish div on the daily. I'll tell you that right now. Look at this. Swing down while this swings up, and this is a rising wedge. Rising wedges break down 68% of the time. So right now, the S&P is saying, hey, I'm going to take a bit of a pullback. So from what I see, it looks like the dollar's going to pump on the daily, and the S&P is going to take a move down. It looks like next week is going to be some trouble in the general markets and for Bitcoin. All right, that's just what's on the table, everybody. You have the daily rolling over, and you're in a rising wedge. Now it's not all bad. We could just get some smaller pullback, but I do see either sideways price action or a move down. We see the 21 isn't that far from price. It's actually a pretty good sign that we may go more sideways than down. So, again, S&P just may do something like this and then continue to the upside. But either way, the daily does need a reset, and it tells me that we're either going sideways or to the downside for the S&P for the next week. I don't see a massive pump to the upside coming. It just doesn't make any sense. The NQ really follows the S&P. They're basically exactly the same. The only thing about it is a little further in its progression of the sell pressure that it had. You could say it was in this rising wedge yet again, like everything else. Rising wedges like to go break down where they began. That's the measured move. We'll pull that off for now. And again, could this continue? It was on a really nice tear. It has really strong bearish div now. I mean, that's the strongest bearish divergence I've ever seen on any asset. Very likely you're dumping back down to 1671. If you don't dump, it means they're going to be forced to print money out of, maybe there's going to be some type of weird movement, and we are next to the 21, which is interesting, but I wouldn't be surprised if we come revisit this 200 SMA here. We bounce off it one more time for our continuation. So I see a pullback on the NASDAQ. I could be wrong, but when we're back here next week, it looks like we'll be showing you that we did pull back. That's the highest probability that what I'm seeing right now. SoulBTC, I gave it to my trading group just a few days ago and talked about it about to break out of this channel, and lo and behold, it did. One Bitcoin would be up almost 39%, or at 1.39, now sitting about 37% or 35% on your Bitcoin. Imagine making, 35% more off of one Bitcoin. Now you have 1.35 Bitcoins. It's pretty awesome. So SoulBTC looks like it's just getting started. The 3-day says I'm ready to go on a tear. Soul is up huge right now and looks like it may continue. Seems like people are getting into these meme coins and what's happening. They really don't seem to care much about the Bitcoin pullback. Solana seems to be decoupling somewhat, and it was being foreshadowed by this SoulBTC chart that said we were going to go up 80% against Bitcoin, actually even more from when I first put it out, about 120% against Bitcoin. So far, we're up about, it did hit about 37%, and we're still holding about 35% for SoulBTC. This chart looks to continue with the hidden bullish above the high volume node, cup and handle, moving averages, golden cross, everything really playing out for SoulBTC. Everybody, that is my macro weekly analysis. I hope you had a good time and you liked this video. I can't wait to show you more each week and break down what I'm seeing, what's happening. I can't wait to come back next week and see if what I talked about and what we projected played out. So far, we've been pretty spot on day in and day out. And caution you right now. Everyone is bullish, bullish, bullish. Please, could you handle a big pullback? Do you have a plan for a big pullback? I'm not telling you to panic sell. I'm actually getting ready to panic buy. I think that is the best decision. But again, I'm not a financial advisor. Nothing I say and do should be taken as financial advice. Please get yourself a financial advisor and do your own due diligence before getting into any project, coin, or trade. God bless you all, and may you have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for watching. Please comment, like, and subscribe. Hit the bell for notifications. You can find out when I post my next video. And remember, if you came to the channel, then you're already doing the right thing. Crypto is life.